All right. Rising. If you are tuning in with me right now,
All right.
you're tuning in right now. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Um, and if it's your first time coming across this live, or I'm coming across your news feed, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or the community, uh, I am Shakifa Lewis, and I am the founder of Quiet Place Academy. Um, and so today I did say last week, I'm gonna switch it up just a little bit. The our topic, our conversation for today this morning is self-trust starts with listening to yourself, and basically it's going to be generating from some pillars. And this primary pillar is going to be identity and becoming. And basically, it's for you to it's like recognition, right? And so I'm not going to hold us up any longer. Let's go ahead and get this started. But if you are watching this on the replay, do let us know where you're tuning in from. Uh, and anyone that comments later, I definitely do follow up with those comments. So, and also, if you are tuning in and you would like to um, join me live, all you would need to do is basically the click the link in the comment section. It'll say live with me on meeting.com/quiet queen builder lab. Um, and any one of these platforms, um, well, Instagram is you will discover your builder profile. You can there and discover your builder profile. But without further ado, go ahead and kick this off this morning. And if you take a look at the description. Okay, first of all, the topic is self-trust. It starts with listening, listening to yourself, and let's get into the talk. So there comes a point where becoming who you say you want to become requires you to stop automatically looking outside yourself for confirmation. Self trust does not mean believing you always have an answer. It means learning to recognize your own values, discernment, observation, and decisions without abandoning them simply because somebody else sees things differently. And we tend to do that a lot. Um, and a lot of people who have within and have become who have learned to identify who they are and they really have the self-trust, but there's many, many people who do not. And so divine rising to you, quiet queens. So I want to start this week with something I believe sits underneath so many of the decisions we make, and that's self-trust. Because you can have vision, you can understand your purpose, you can accept responsibility, you can even become accountable. However, if you still don't trust yourself, you can find yourself constantly needing somebody else to confirm what you already know. So basically, stop seeking outside validation when you already know what it is that you want, right? And you trust yourself enough to, fulfill whatever that may be, right? So, and here's just a reflection. One of the things I've learned through my own journey is that I can listen to other people without giving them authority over my decision. And there's a difference. Somebody else's perspective may give me information to consider, but it doesn't automatically become the truth. And as I always say, my truth, your truth, your truth, our truth. And the thing is, whatever your truth is yours. And so there, like I said, there's a difference. So somebody else's perspective could give me, like I said, the information to consider, but it doesn't automatically become my truth. And the more I've learned to recognize that distinction, the more I have been able to move from a place of clarity instead of constantly checking whether somebody else agrees with me. And if I tell you that's been one of the biggest things for me is that I have come to the place of, and I say this, I know many things, but I don't know everything. And how sometimes, we may check in or I may check with someone not to get a valid for validation, just to hear something or to maybe consider what they may think about a certain situation or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I mean, the decision is always going to be mine. And I have come to the point, I ain't gonna say I always stress myself, but I have come to the point now in this timeline, I trust me, right? And so the founder perspective comes, hold on, let's see. Okay, so let's get into the core of this. I'll just give you some extra stuff that you need. But anyway, so the core of this conversation is that one, self-trust is not the same as certainty. You do not have to know exactly how everything will unfold before trusting yourself enough to make a decision. Two, outside perspectives is information, not authority. Let me say that again. Outside perspective is information, not authority. You can receive wisdom, coaching, feedback, and different perspectives while still remaining responsible for what you choose. And number three, every time honor and align decision, you strengthen your relationship with yourself. So self trust becomes something you build through evidence. And four, becoming requires internal agreement. So you gotta go within yourself. So when your value says one thing, your voice says another, and your actions do something completely different, internal friction grows. Alignment begins bringing those pieces together, right? So here's a reflection for you on this morning. Think about an area of your life where you already have more clarity than you have been giving yourself credit for. And what might change if you stop asking, does everybody else think this is right? And start asking, does this align with who I am becoming? Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm tongue tied, it all is going to come back to you. The decisions that you make is going to always come back to you. I mean, because you're going to have to be accountable for those decisions, no matter if someone did say or gave you information and you chose it. And if it wasn't the right choice at the moment and it turned out differently, you're still going to have to be accountable for making that choice. You can't blame that other person. So it's always good to always rely on your self trust. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your decision. And so, what might change, like I said, what might change if you stop asking, does everybody else think this is right? And start asking, does this align with who I am becoming? And here's a practical takeaway for you. Before making one decision today, ask, am I looking for information or am I looking for permission? You can gather information, you can consider perspectives, then allow yourself to decide. And in closing, self trust isn't built in one giant moment. It's built every time you recognize your own voice. Examine what is true for you, Make a conscious decision and remain responsible for that choice. That is part of becoming. Quiet does not mean uncertain, and a calm authority begins internally before anybody else ever sees it. This keeps, sorry. So basically, like I said, a calm authority begins internally before anybody else sees it. And so, with that being said, I want to thank you for joining me on this morning for Quiet Queen's conversation. Like I said, got some things changing up here. So, of course, if you are someone that would like to become a part of the community, do on the link in the comment and join the community, quietkingsacademy.com/community. Um, and if you would like to discover your builder profile, you can just go to quietqueensacademy.com. And y'all have a divine day.